Hello students, so welcome to the strategic case study overview for the November 2023 and the February 2024. Now, before I start the analysis, I just want to give you some guidance. If you have any questions, any doubts, you can please use the comment section. I will be responding to that. And also students, all the materials can be downloaded in the description section. Now, coming to the class, if you see Robobryce, now before I start reading the case study, you have to understand this organization is a support service manufacturer. Again, understand it, support service manufacturer. That is one thing you have to keep in mind. Support service manufacturer for a warehouse. Support service manufacturer for a warehouse. In the sense, if I'm not mistaken, they are effectively able to produce the following. One, if I'm not mistaken, students, racks and shelves. That is basic things that is there in the warehouse. And the other one, students, if I'm not mistaken, like forklift. They can produce forklift also. And some basic things that can be used within the warehouse. Example, carousels. All these things they are effectively producing. And one more thing that they are now currently focusing on is robots. That is warehouse management robots. So the technical terms given in this is AGV. That is automated guided vehicles. And then students AMR, that is automated mobile robots, if I'm not mistaken. Now students, if you see this term autonomous means it does things automatically it does it. Like washing machine, we just switch on the button, everything will be working. Now students, one thing that every student who is preparing for the case study needs to understand is, now you see they are giving the supply chain. Example students, one is warehouse, correct? And from the warehouse, what happens is it goes to the other stores. Example, it can be a supermarket or any organization, or it can directly go to the customer as well. So students understand it very well. There is a process, and inside the warehouse, we supply these components for managing the warehouse. So we supply these equipments for the warehouse services. So students, we are not a domination organization. Something goes wrong in the market, we may suffer because we are interdependent. That's what I told you students, we are a support service. We are not a main service, we are a support service. A back office function I can generally suggest. Now, before I move forward, I have to give you a small glimpse. That is the last case study. That is, you have to have an idea about the May-August case study, because students, I have to be very transparent. This May-August case study is a wonderful case study on Daystruck. Already the paper is also available. Now, Daystruck, if you observe, they were a 3PL logistics services. I believe the students who did last time may know. Now, again, see clearly, they are the warehouse, okay? Now, here the examiner has even gone below that is the suppliers for a warehouse. So my suggestion, students, if you have the chance to go through this will create a huge value differences to pass this examination without much efforts. Now, students, coming into the role here, I just wanted to say that we are producing the equipments that is needed in the warehouse for them. So if I'm not mistaken, Robobryce, and as you are aware, we have to not focus on the global context. So industry analysis, be very, very careful students. Now, as usual, there is an introduction, your role. As you know, you are a senior finance manager. There is nothing to worry about that, students. You are a senior finance manager reporting to the board directly. So mostly students, your viewpoint needs to change, more practical. If you have passed MCS, or even if you are a prize winner for MCS and OCS, the SCS paper is very unique, students. So be very, 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 very careful. And students who are studying the FLP platform or the OTQ examination should have a complete restructuring in thinking. And as I told you, you have to refer the previous past paper answers, at least one or two, and go through the examiner's comments of the students who did the exam, because the answers are very, very practical and the questions in SCS is very easy. Now, students, there was a question on pestle analysis, but the answers is not the pestle what the students do in the normal degree paper or basic exam. This pestle is more towards rationalizing. Now, earlier you explain it, but here it's more towards rationalizing. And one more exam tip, students, if you observe the other cases, MCS, what you do, when there is an F2 question, you read the question and you recall the knowledge. Read and what students recall and write. Now, this is what students, most of the university exams are. You read, recall, and write. But students, if you observe the MCS or the SCS students, it's more like read. You need to anyway read the question, but instead of recalling, you have to reflect a situation you are in that position. And the reflection should reflect as a senior manager in Robobryce. Senior manager in Robobryce, how I am going to write the answer. And students, if you observe as a senior manager, your thought process should completely be different from the other's perspective. So warehouse handling, they have given a basic idea. And unfortunately, this time the information of the company is extremely less. You have to understand one thing, students, the information of the company is extremely low. And the main reason they are giving low information is just to make sure the students are not mugging up the pre-seen material. Maybe that is the reason, because in the previous case studies, when the information is given, students are writing it more and more there. So warehouse handling, Robobryce, products, extract from the annual report, board of directors, board responsibility, principal risk, competitors' financial statement, share price history, and the news story. Now, I will be covering all these things in the other video series for your ideology, but just make sure, students, you rationalize your mind rather than go with the recalling attitude. As I told you here, the introduction, you are effectively considered to be a senior manager, finance function, direct to the strategic. And we effectively a quoted company. So as you know, we have to adhere to the corporate governance, if I'm not mistaken, students, and have a little bit of idea about basics in F3. Don't go to a detailed recap. Basics in F3 is like MBO, that is management buyout, the rights issue. Don't memorize it, but just have an idea. And then students, dividend policies. Now these things you can have some idea. As usual, there will be one question, part B or of that they will ask a financing policy in the examination. So make sure, students, you are very much aware about these financing policies also. The Robobryce is based on Tesla, a developed nation as usual. Active, well-regulated stock market, T dollars is this, and IFRS they follow. Now, students, as usual, there will be inspections. Audit can come, students, a developed country inspection. So can I write down here? Audit can be coming in the examination. So just have some idea that they can test audit everything in the examination for your understanding, but it's not the theory audit. It should be practical. So students, warehouse handling. Now here, I think we have an industry case analysis, which I will be sharing. So in basically, they are saying about the square meters, the size in the warehouse, and the storage options. They are just suggesting how you can store the block storage, all these things, but don't spend too much of time in these, students, because you have to read the previous answers of the previous case. You will understand there is a huge deviation of what you learn and what they are asking. And then students, the levels are given, the picker details is given, picker to good. You just remember these things, batch pack, zone pack, everything. And then students, they are just giving about the robots to goods, how it works out. And the basic ideas are provided in this, which you will learn more in detail. And again, ITIS, this is very, very important page, students, with regards to the mobile robot coordination. I have done a mock exams with regards to this. It's very different, but very easy if you've got the understanding and human interference and how the automated warehousing is going up in the market. So you can just type on Amazon and Alibaba warehouse, Amazon and Alibaba warehouse for more detailed understanding of how these are going on, but just to have an ideology only, and the warehouse management software. And then they are giving about the Robobryce data. So this was formed in 1952. They are registered in the stock market 1971. I believe most of you all are aware about that. So they are effectively focusing on two items, that is the manual items and also the autonomous equipments they produce. And students have an idea, 12,000 staffs are there, 7,000 in Dahlan and 5,000 in Tesla. And just remember this information about Dahlan. Dahlan is a developing country. They are exploiting labor. Correct, no, students, developing country. Labor is exploited. And students, ethical issue questions can come. mostly related to the business ethical issues. So children just have an idea about that. A Tesla factory is also mentioned. So just have some ideology of these things also. And mechanical engineers aims to develop physical attribute, electrical, the R&D, all I explained. That's it. That's it. This is the only data given for Robobryce. So don't spend too much of wasting your knowledge, because if you want to get an idea why they are giving this, refer the previous paper. Same thing they are repeating now also. The reason is they want rationalizing. They don't want students to just go through a template and write the answers and pass. The mission statement, the board of directors, all are given. Ex usual, they have given the audit committees, all the risk impact. I have done it in another video. The financial analysis also is done in another video. You can go through that. And the financial statements also done. We have the competitor PavRobot, and this is the share price history. All these are there. News stories, which we have to analyze in more detail, which I have done in other videos as well. So students, a humble request, please be kind enough to go through the day struct. Very, very, very important. Students who are preparing in the last moment of the exam, please go through day struct. Thank you very much. Students, all the very best.